Hi, welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner for over 35 years. And in this video, we're going to do Mixtape Monday. This is Mixtape Monday. This is when I take your questions. They came in over the week and we take a look at them in a mixed up, crazy kind of version. So the first thing that I want to bring up is the background's a little different. So let me know what you think. I'm actually working on my digital course. It should be done. At least the first part, Tarot 101, should be done by my birthday, July 12th. Today is my anniversary too. Gregopedia and I are having an anniversary. It's our 7th anniversary. So we don't have anything planned, but you know, every day is wonderful with us. So, but let me know what you think of this background, because maybe I will keep it. I don't know. I feel like it's a little less distracting. I don't know if you guys like looking at all my accoutrement that's on the sideboard usually, but in any event, please like, share, and subscribe. Know that I am still having my 20% off sale for the entire summer. We're kicking it back. We're going to have some fresh stuff coming out from PNR next week. The Psychic News Report, that's my collaborative channel. I want to thank all of you guys for subscribing, super chats, super stickers, and the super thanks, which keep coming in, which is awesome. Thank you so much. It does help. This is my full-time job, so every little bit counts. So thank you so much. So the first question that we have is, we're going to do the royals real quick. We're going to start with the royals. We're going to end with the royals. So stick around for this. So how will this time period affect or shape the whales children? So I thought this was a really interesting question. I'm going to do a much larger video on them. I typically don't read for kids per se, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how the experience with Harry and Meghan, watching their aunt and uncle kind of stumble through celebrity, how it's going to affect their perspectives on celebrity. So let's pull up the card view. And again, please like, share, and subscribe as always. Hope you guys are having a great day today. Great start to your week. Rick just got back. Rick Paul got back from Stonehenge. So we did not do our vibe with the tribe, but we'll be doing that next week. So let's take a look at George. How is the experience with Harry and Meghan shaping George's perspective as the heir to the throne, the third in line, I guess second in line to the throne right now? How is the experience with Harry and Meghan shaping his perspective? The Hangman in reverse. Love that card. It's so much fun when I teach reversals. The Seven of Swords. High Priestess in reverse. The Justice card. And the Wheel of Fortune. That Nine of Swords is our dominant energy here, which is pretty wild. So it is, when I do this 7-card spread, I let the cards fall where they may. I usually put my under the surface energy over here, but this one, it lands on any combination of cards up here. Wherever it lands is significant for me. So the fact that the anxiety about meting out justice is very interesting, because at some point George is going to, well, hopefully George is going to be on the throne and have a position of power in the British monarchy, affecting world politics. I think having the issue of reprimanding, or I don't want to say punishing, but showing one's displeasure toward a family member, I think this is very distasteful to him. I think it's a very hard sell to him that at some point he is going to have to rule as a man and not as a brother or a father or a son, that kind of thing. He's going to have to rule as a man. And if you go back in some of my readings, this is something I talked about with King Charles, is that his perspective toward Harry is now not as a king, not as a father, but as a man. How would I react to someone like this if I were dealing with them not as a monarch and not as a father? And I think the perspective becomes very, very different when one does do that. So I think George is really grappling with that. Mind you, he's very, very young. So this is going to be something that is probably a lesson that he is going to have to put on some uncomfortable clothes to deal with that later in his life. The confusion is not to be able to understand why his uncle had and bride have behaved in such a fashion. He's having a really hard time putting himself in their shoes, which is something that a monarch should be able to do. A monarch should be able to identify with the position of their subjects, of the people that they're working with, of the people that are counseling them. So, having a more impartial view, a good lens to which view things and make decisions is really critical. This is one that he's kind of getting stuck on. The running away business, he thinks, is very poorly minded, and that the running away is a result of the individuals in question, the uncle and aunt in question, their inability to be impartial and look at things from a good perspective, or from a more reasonable perspective. So I do think there is some coalescence of intelligence on this for George at the moment. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, this Wheel of Fortune. He understands very much that sometimes he's going to have to make decisions as an adult in his during his reign that are maybe not going to align with how he would like to make a decision should he be just a regular person. So this is a very, very intense kind of perspective that he's getting as a young man. So how does Charlotte view this situation? How is it changing her perspective? What is her take on this? There's a lot of Princess Margaret and Princess Anne in Charlotte, I think. It's interesting. I'm wondering if that second in command role has a certain archetype to it altogether. Very, very interesting indeed. So, she will not suffer fools lightly. Absolutely not. There is something about her that at some point she will make that declaration of how she felt about it. I think we may hear some stories about it, that about her experience and about her perhaps the wedding. We may hear her side of the story, which is not going to be kind. And this isn't to say that Charlotte is not kind. I want to say unvarnished. She's going to have a very unvarnished opinion. We've seen this in the Princess Royal, and we also saw it with Princess Margaret. Princess Margaret was fairly unvarnished and quite fun in some circles. So she's very, very charming. So I think we will see that. And she will say the dedication of oneself to the monarchy, to this family, being a part of this is something that needs to happen, that is something that should have been done, but unfortunately was glossed over by the individuals in question. There is a quiet consideration of hers. She is going to really have a very academic approach to loyalty to the crown, loyalty to the family. And again, this will be underscored. It's the us against them perspective that certain individuals gave is very, very distasteful to her. She doesn't understand that the war that was fought, the War of the Waleses, Well, that was Diana and Charles, but the war that is being fought between the Sussexes and the rest of the British royal family, she's ready for it. She will step up and she will be a part of that. She has no problem. She gives no quarter. It will only serve to have her stand more fully in the side of the royal family. So I think, if nothing else, this has been a lesson for Charlotte in dedication and loyalty and service to the country and the crown. I think that she's doubled down on that understanding. So I think we're going to get another Princess Anne out of her. I think we're going to get another. If Princess Anne is not tutoring her, I would be very surprised if we heard she was not. So, how is this going to affect Louis? How will this affect Louis? Now, everyone kind of watches Louis because he's a little bit of a wild card. He's a little fun, a little bit fun. It's my understanding that the Princess of Wales has said he's like her, which is funny because I don't see her as quite as goofy as him. But every now and then it peeks out. Louis sees this. Oh my goodness. Okay, but we've got a much, much better perspective. He is actually going to be probably the more demonstrative of his distaste, or the family's distaste, for how they have behaved. As the second born son, he's not the second born, he's the third born child, but the second born son, he has a unique perspective that he has something very much in common with Harry. And he is going to demonstrate why adherence to a certain way of thinking and not backing off that is detrimental to one's existence as a celebrity, as a royal celebrity. I think he is going to learn from this very, very well. But we get a very Mike Tyndall kind of unabashedness out of him. He's ready for the fight too. He is well learned in loyalty, keeping things within the family, not creating a ruckus unless it's against the grain. So I think he is going to have some very choice things to say at some point in his life about the conduct of the Sussexes and how it affected his perspective toward his position in the royal family. So it's very interesting. He's going to be a grower. We're going to see him turn into something very different. Now, I don't think that we're going to get a military career out of him. I don't think he's going to go the same route that Harry did, where he embraced the military and went into service. I think he's going to do something very different, and it's going to be more creative but business oriented. So I don't know if his opinions are going to be put into the management of the Duchy of Cornwall or any of that kind of stuff. But I think he's going to be a highly, highly valuable person. And I don't think that he's going to go into one of the more historic and traditional roles for the second born son. I think he's going to go more into a creative academic kind of perspective. I'm getting finance from him, so I don't know. I'm going to have to consult with possibly an astrologer and see how his chart looks for financial careers. That I think will be very interesting, because I am getting intuitively that there's something about finances here, that he is going to lean into financials. Perhaps this is an outgrowth of the experience with Harry and Meghan, because it is supposed that they're running out of money. So, and that they're clamoring to go back to the royal family. So, we'll move on to the next question. Again, I'm gonna do a bit more on the kids, on the Wales children. You can put some questions down below if you would like me to tackle certain things about them. So the next question is, how is Catherine reacting to the efforts of Meghan to derail the significant events of the royal family, specifically trooping of the color and the celebration of the king's unofficial birthday. So Catherine did show up at the last minute after she gave her regrets to the Irish Guard as their commander. She said, "I'm not going to make it," and then a few days later she was like, "By the way, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there." So how is she reacting to this, the jam post, jam gate? How is she reacting to that? She's not. She is not reacting to it. She is perfectly fine. Bad blood will out, boys and girls. So she quietly, she has some severe words for this. There's a level of pity that she has for the efforts of Meghan, because it really is business flailing. She is flailing along at this point. And Catherine is almost like, I just feel bad that she's not ever getting it right. She keeps flubbing and floundering and not doing well. There's a level of pity, but at the same time she's like, it's so transparent what this person is doing, that this person is trying to interfere with all of the events. Like it's almost like they have a list and they just keep adding to it. Things that Meghan has done, Meghan and Harry have done to try and derail the events of the royal family. So it's like they have a list. Her return was fine. Nothing is eclipsing it. She knows that. She is working with her team to craft her re-entry into royal events and royal presentations. And again, I have said I don't think we're going to see her until the fall. I'm not worried about that. If I had access to Balmoral, I would be going up there all summer too. I'm watching the deer and the elk and the roebuck deers stroll on by. I would be up there. I would be hanging out and barbecuing in honor of Prince Philip and all of that stuff. I would be doing all of the things that they do, especially because there have been rumblings of turning Balmoral into a tourist event, tourist attraction. Currently it is a private estate for the royal family. I think this is a great place for her to convalesce. It's a great place for the kids to get some fresh air, run about, have lots of cool things to do, and be out there in nature. So hopefully it's not like, oh gosh, there's a movie about the Get Duked, and it's about the Duke of Edinburgh Award, and it's a spoof. It's a spoof. It's a funny movie, black comedy. It's a very black comedy. So, but Catherine is working with her team to try and craft her re-entry. But there's no moves yet. They're not going to do anything yet. They're going to keep. I think they're crafting kind of a list of responses and maybe some updates that will come out periodically. I think we're going to see lovely posts from her, lovely words of encouragement. I think she is reaching out to the patronages that she has. I think they're getting sweet little handwritten notes or messages from her team, letting them know what to expect in the future. So I think that looks good. So I think in regard to her attitude toward Meghan, she is a duck. She is letting this roll off her shoulders. She knows that she's winning. She knows that she's doing well. So let's talk about Kanye. This was an unusual question that I got. There are two different things we've heard about Kanye and Bianca, his current bride, alleged bride. And one is that they're ready to have a baby. And the other one is that they're ready to get divorced. There's a lot of speculation about the nature of their marriage, about how Kanye had separated her from her family, from her friends. He's and isolated her. He dictates what she wears. He dictates what she eats, what she works out, when she works out, how often she works out. Allegedly, he has a lot of control over her life. Is this true? I don't know. That's for a longer video. But in this one, let's see if we're expecting a baby soon from Kanye. So pull card view back up. this is an interesting combination of cards, having that Eight of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles. I'm saying no to the baby. I'm saying no. I'm saying no to a baby. I think he is done having kids. I don't think he's gonna go that route. So this is an interesting combination. Again, for my students out there, the Eight of Swords, when it's in the upright, we are held in place by our own thoughts and our own actions and our own doing. So when it goes in reverse, we are additionally there's a few ways we read reverses. This can be releasing from it or being retained in it. So this, we're being retained. We're almost doubling down on sticking with our convictions, with the things that he's saying. He is very convicted in his discussions and in his beliefs and what he says. He does have a lot. He doesn't mince words and doesn't step off anything. He's got some zany ideas, but he's doubling down on that to the extent that he is putting himself behind the walls. Now, the eights are stable because it's an even number. That's very stable energy. But when it goes in reverse, it is chaotically retained. So he is almost desperately clinging on to those beliefs that he has. And that's echoed again here with this Ten of Swords. But it also gives us a little harbinger that maybe he needs to loosen up a little bit. Here we have going behind the walls and feeling very, very confident that this is our shield. This is going to keep us back and it's going to support us in our belief system. I know he was building something that was very compound like. So I'm wondering if we're even going into that again, into these situations where we're really, restricting ourselves from public and kind of being very protective of the people that we're talking to. Interesting. I think his aesthetic in the houses is very interesting too. That it's very stark, it's very sleek. But this one house that he was building was like incredibly secure. Like they had all this concrete, all this craziness that was going on there. Here, I think he is starting to worry about the foundations of the marriage. Now, according to reports, it was a secret marriage. They went off and like kind of eloped. There's no prenup. So that creates an issue. I don't know what Kanye's worth. I don't know if he's worth money. I don't know if he owes money. But I think there are some foundational elements that are starting to fall apart. But we're not really doing anything to correct that. He's doubling down on this way of thinking. So the marriage itself, I don't think is getting the kind of nurturing and attention that it needs to, because I think there's too much going on. There's too much noise going on around him. There's too many things happening in terms of his businesses and trying to manage his public image. So I think we've got some issues here. So are we getting a baby? No, I think there's too much. I don't even think I need to read on whether they're getting a divorce. I don't think they're getting a divorce. I think they're in a very difficult position and trying to figure out where they go from here. We have twos in reverse here, not knowing what that next step is, not having the correct people to partner with to move forward with our concepts and our ideas. So these twos that are in reverse, is this a good union? It might not be. We might be on like phase one of maybe starting to think about breaking up, or maybe think about how this isn't someone who we're in alignment with. So I think that's kind of where we are. But are we on the cusp of it? Maybe. I don't think we're going to get a divorce. Kanye's getting divorce announcement right away. But I think, we're at a point of no return where that process is starting. So, is the marriage kind of coming apart? Yes. Is it because of his convictions? Yes, I think so. I think it's because of his inflexibility in his opinions and in his convictions. I think we're running into some issues with that. The weird thing is that Bianca's not coming through at all. So I get the sense that she is a milder personality that is kind of moving along with him. Now, she did have some career of her own before she hooked up with Kanye. I personally did not hear about anything about her until she married Kanye, and took that gondola ride. Which, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go look it up, because they went on a gondola ride, and it was a little bit of an X-rated gondola ride. So I'm going to say I don't think there's a baby at this moment, unless, somebody decides in the next few weeks, like, oh, maybe we'll have a baby and save the marriage. But I just think that, it was a poor foundation, a poor union to start with. I don't think that they really kind of thought it through. She seems kind of like a whatever kind of girl, like, all right, I'm just going to do whatever. So, kind of swept off her feet. He's a very intense person. He feels like he's very tense, like that's his energy, like he's just wound up all the time. Feels like he never even sleeps. So very, 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 very strange. So this was a fun one. We'll do more readings on Kanye and his lovely bride. So I'm a huge fan of Roseanne Barr. I know there's a few points in her career that have been problematic for people. One, when she sang the national anthem and kind of made a mockery of it. That was a long time ago. Some of you may be too young to remember that, but she sang the national anthem and she kind of screamed it, and it was a little tough to swallow. Just fun fact about me: my two favorite renditions of the national anthem, Whitney Houston, It's Everybody's. The other one is Meatloaf. And if you haven't heard Meatloaf sing the national anthem, look it up, because he does. And I get chills thinking about it. He's still one of my favorite singers. I love him and I miss him so much. I wish he hadn't passed away, but I did get a chance to see him twice, and I was very fortunate. So Bad Out of Hell is one of my favorite songs. So so Roseanne Barr, she sang the national anthem. And then there was kind of a restoration of her character, leading up to they revived her television show Roseanne, which I was a huge fan. I loved the show Roseanne. I thought it hit a lot of topics that were very interesting. Dan Connor is one of the greatest characters ever written. I thought he was fantastic. John Goodman is amazing. I love him. And I thought that she was really, really terrific on the show, showing a working class person, kind of chugging along. I mean, one of my favorite things was when she, had the whole thing. She put the wrong check in the wrong envelope because they didn't have the money to pay for it. People have done that. You put a wrong date on it, you write the wrong name on it, whatever, like people do that. So, it was quite charming coming from, humble beginnings in my family. We had very humble beginnings when I was young. And I thought it was very appropriate. The town that they were in on the show Roseanne was very similar to the town that I grew up in, and the town that I've moved back to with Greg is very similar. So she was on Piers Morgan, and I think it was a great interview. She looks fantastic, but she is, really leaning more toward conservatism. But I do think that she is more libertarian, like Greg and I. Like, we're very middle of the road. We have our issues with both parties. But, that Libertarian Party, I think we should expand it. I think we should get a little bit bigger here, guys. But that's just my opinion. We're not going to go too political on this. But Roseanne's saying a lot of stuff that makes me a little bit nervous. Worried people are going to come for her. So let's do just a real quick reading on her. Again, I really have a lot of respect for her. She really created an amazing career for herself, and she's if nothing but chock full of integrity. Like, what you see is what you get. She's saying everything that she means. So let's take a look at Roseanne. We'll do a real quick read for her to wrap it up for Mixtape Monday. Again, Mixtape Monday. This is an homage to my 80s upbringing. So if you want to hear something on Mixtape Monday next week, put it in the comments. I'll also do a post. I'm trying to do a post in the community chat so that everybody can add that. We've got the 9 of Swords. Oh, she's meeting a lot of resistance. A lot of resistance here. Got all those nice Queens of Cups and all right. So right now, what's causing her the most anxiety is the inability of people to contain the emotions about and strictly speaking politics, the inability of people to kind of rein in their emotions and their fieriness about what's going on. She does see this pulling away with the 3 of Pentacles, this pulling away from the old way of government in the United States. She's seeing that that is an outdated approach, that we really can't exist like that. And I've said this before. You guys have all heard me say this. The liberals of the Democrats of the Kennedy era are now the libertarians of this era. We are not seeing the Democratic Party. If we could bring JFK back, he would not agree with the Democratic Party that we have now. And I think we do see that with RFK Jr. I think we see the results of that. I think the conversations around the Kennedy table, even though there is some dissension in there, I think the conversations that we see around that dinner table, we're going to see more middle of the road kind of government management. So I think she is leaving that well in her past. She's kind of forging her own path. This Hermit card tells me that she does consider all things. And up here, she means what she says. She's got her heart is on her sleeve. I'm just going to give you a little bit of a better view here, guys. Sorry, I'm not trying to make you seasick. Her heart is on her sleeve. She's talking to us straight from what she means. She's not doing this to get more clicks, more likes, more attention, sell more tickets to her next stand-up show. Like, she's not doing that. She's saying she's using her platform to really appeal to people and say, we need to do better. I love that she is somewhat spiritual. She talks about being Jewish. She talks about having faith and having that dedication to God and having her dedication to her faith. I really like that. I think it's honorable. And I do think that she's sincere about it. This isn't a money grab. This isn't an attention grab. She's doing it because she wants to expand the platform for others to get on board this train. So I know she is supporting 45, but that's not really the train I think that she wants people to get on. It's more the train of thinking, consideration, and thinking about making things better in your immediate perspective, and that will radiate out and make things better in the larger perspective. She certainly does not like the way things are going. She does not like the way things are, but she is highly motivated to change them, and people see that around her. Concerns about what's going to happen. Her concern is that people will not find this middle of the road. They will not find this middle path where they don't have to declare Democrat or Republican. They can declare, I am an American and I'm voting for the sake of America. Unfortunately, I do see this ultimate outcome up here. I think she's going to see some bruises on her public personality, her public image. I think she's going to see some bruises. I think Pierce Morgan was fairly was very even-handed with her. I don't feel like he vilified her. He did hold her feet to the fire on a couple of questions, which was great. That's what a good journalist does. A good journalist is going to say, yeah, but what about this? So, and I think that was done, but I do think that there's going to be an opportunity now for people to kind of put her out there as someone who's fringe, someone who's a little wacky, throwing her into the, crazy Republican, conservative, bag of deplorables. And I don't think that that's what she is. I do think that she is a fair-minded individual who is looking for the best results possible right now. So What does she need to know to continue to live her best life? Let's do this. We're going to do this. So, absolutely partner up with the people that are similarly minded. Um, this is grabbing on to individuals who are this, very libertarian minded, still have some spiritual components to them, not to worry about any of the reputational damage that she may experience, because up here, there's always going to be new opportunities. There are going to be new people to partner with, new things that we may be getting into. She may be diverting from her former vocation. She may be doing something differently, which is fine. Under here, I would dial back the smoking thing. I would just dial that back, because that's going to be an easy target for people to say, well, she's wacky. She's all whacked out all the time on the wacky weed. So I think dialing that back, or at least the not the consumption, but the promotion of that, I think is going to serve her well in terms of a broader audience and perspective. I think, that really will be something that people zero in on to say that she's kind of wacky. And the crazy thing is that, if she's going to be attacked by a given party, it's probably going to be the Liberal Party, because in that Pierce Morgan interview, she did say that she is voting for 45 and that she's backing him. So the Liberal side is probably going to come, for her with, yay, blazing. So I personally like her a whole lot. I loved the interview with Pierce. I think she conducted herself excellently. I think he did as well. I'm going to start listening to her podcast, I think, a bit more in my spare time. Not that I have very much spare time, but I think I'm going to start listening to her podcast and just see what she has to say. I mean, she's got a couple of outlandish ideas, but that's okay. Some people do have outlandish ideas, and I like to listen to them all. I don't judge people that harshly. I think we should all take the information that we get and work with it from there. So thanks so much for spending this time with me. Mixtape Monday, yay. Again, like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you put down in the comments what you would like to see for next week. If I missed anything that you would put in a previous one, you can put it in this one again and just remind me. I will go back in time. I get a lot of these requests, so I want to make sure that we get everybody's in place. So I hope you have a great day. Remember, 20% off sale for the entire summer. So if you want to get your own private reading with me, link is down below, and my class will be coming out soon. So if you want to learn tarot like me, if you want to read the tarot cards the way I do, I don't know, maybe start your own business, start your own YouTube channel. You could do all kinds of crazy stuff. So let me know in the comments, or you can always email me at fortunecookiestarot@gmail.com. I'm a little slow on the email response, so I get a lot of emails. I just want you guys to be a little bit patient. I have students that I'm still coaching. I do provide additional coaching after my students take my class. So thank you so much. And you guys have a great day. I hope it's cooling off where you are. It's cooling off here. We're getting out of the heat dome and things are good. Go have a great week. I'll see you soon.